for cold, hard sports talk with your hosts, Ty Gore, Matt Barrett, and Jake Woods.
Alrighty, we are joined here today by one of the players who's had one of the most unique careers I've ever seen, playing in a wide variety of leagues across North America and overseas. We are joined by Peter, the Mad Dog Di Salvo. Peter, thanks for coming on. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing great. I'll jump into to the big money question right off the bat, the one everyone wants to know. The nickname Mad Dog, where did that come from? How long have you had it? Is there a story but that got it for you?
I'd be as rich as an NHL player if I got money, like if I got $1 for every time I was asked that question. But when I was like 4 or 5, I was playing all these little minor league kid sports. Baseball was one of them. The team I played for was called the Mad Dogs. And after games that we would win, our coach would get us in like a huddle and like have us start barking as like our cheer. And I would just keep doing it after games. So the nickname just kind of stuck with me. Like my parents would start calling me that because I'd be barking in the car. And then the next year, which was or the next year or two, I got my first goalie mask, and my parents featured a bulldog on it with Mad Dog across the back. It was painted like Mike Richter's helmet from New York, but the Statue of Liberty. It was a bulldog.
I know that's the one everyone wants to hear right off the bat. Had to ask it. So being born in Oakville, Ontario, you played your junior hockey in the OHL. You played for the Sarnia Sting, Barrie Colts, and Oshawa Generals. What was it like just being an Ontario kid growing up and then making the OHL?
Living in a crowded Toronto Maple Leafs area was tough, but Ontario, kids live, breathe hockey. Like it's just something everybody wants to do, and in that area, like where I was, my entire family is Montreal Canadiens fans. So my dad started that kick, and when he started watching in the 70s when they were winning all the time, he stayed loyal to them ever since. And I was just watching growing up, and the guy I watched was Waugh, and I wanted to be Patrick Waugh. So, but Ontario was great. Like it's got great hockey all over the place, from minor hockey all the way up into the Ontario Hockey League. The entire Canadian Hockey League, Hockey League produces the best players. Like you see how many kids get drafted out of that league every single year to the NHL.
Do you remember any particular, if you had like a welcome to the league kind of moments where like you really realized like, hey, I'm playing here. We got a lot of fans in front of a lot of fans in the seats, a lot of people watching me now.
Oh yeah, well, put it in my first game in the OHL. It was preseason, but it was, I guess, London Knights in London, the biggest rink in the OHL, 10,000 fans. My first game, and the opening face-off was Stamkos versus Patrick Kane.
Jeez, I just want to jump in. Is he coming through you guys? He's coming in a little choppy.
Go.
So Peter, just being an Ontario-born kid, obviously hockey crazy with the Leafs market, and then going to play in the OHL, and then like having a couple thousand fans watching you. Do you remember if you had like a big like welcome to the league moment?
Yeah, my welcome to the league moment was my very first game. It was preseason in London, so sold out crowd, 10,000 people in the formerly known as the John Labatt Center. And the opening face-off was Stamkos versus Patrick Kane.
You can't ask for two better names than that, honestly.
No, and we were all rookies at the time too, but we all knew what big deals those two were going to be. So,
and then going through, you started your career in Sarnia, and then ended up moving to the Barrie Colts, and then finished off in Oshawa. Just of your time, which of those teams do you really like associate the most with? Like which like really sticks out as like your favorite time in the O?
Probably Barrie, mainly because I spent most of my time there, and I still frequently visit Barrie, and I go see my billets. I still go to the rink. I still in contact with some former players, like assistant coach Taylor Carnivale. I still see in the summers at times. A lot of the same staff is still there, so Barrie's awesome. And the good chance that my wife and I decide to move there once I'm done playing. And we got our own house. Like that's where we have our eyes set to live.
What is it about Barrie? Like, about the town and about the city there, and why is it so attractive to you?
For one, it's cheaper, but it's just a nice area. You're near the water. The downtown area is really nice. You got hockey there, and it's just nice. It's a nice scenery there as well. Like especially in the wintertime when it snows, there's just it's. I lived there for 3 years. I got friends there and everything. It just seems like the perfect spot to finally settle down with my wife, start a family, and just be somewhere we can call home. Like there's not much to it, really. That sums it up.
And then coming out of your time in junior, you then went on to go play 2 years of CIS. What were the options kind of in front of you when you were wrapping up your junior career? Was the thought always to kind of go to school after if you didn't end up getting drafted, or was there like other pro leagues you were looking at right out of junior?
So I actually had a good chance to go play overseas in Italy, but I took the school route just because I thought to myself, you know what, I might as well try to take advantage of the school package that I get out of the OHL and then go play pro afterwards. But then 2 years into it, I just said to myself, the school is not for me. Like whoever says that, tells kids you got to go to school, you got to go to college, university, excuse my French, but that's bullshit. School is not for everybody. You got to pick your own career path. And you know what? Going to school is just not for me. And what I want to do after I'm done playing hockey, I don't have to go to school for. So it just, everybody's different, right? Everybody's got a different career path, and school's not the way for everybody. I learned that 2 years in.
Actually, I just want to circle back to junior real quick. And I was looking at this 2009-2010 Barrie Colts roster, and it was loaded top to bottom. The name some of the guys in the roster. You have Alex Burmistrov, Kyle Clifford, TJ Brody, Alex Pierangelo, Ryan Strome, Zach Ronaldo, another future NHLer. What was that team like? Like, how intense were those practices, and what made that team really click?
Oh boy, that was 11 years ago. We knew going into the year that we were going to be like a top dog team, and we just kept making other simple trades. Like there were some other top players that we had. Like we actually traded Strome for Pietrangelo. That was a big blockbuster trade that year. We had another guy on the team, Josh Britton, who was a second-round draft pick to Anaheim, and we ended up trading him to the second-round pick in the draft, and we used that to make some other big trades. Like there was so much movement, but like the core group of guys that we had, like me, Stefan Delarivere, Alex Hutchings, Kyle Clifford, like just being with those guys for so long, I was like, wow. And then we had Luke Pither and Brian Cameron, who led the league in points that year. Both of them. Cameron got 53 goals that year. Just like any team chemistry, just there wasn't any bad guy on the team that created tension. And guys, we were winning all the time. And when you're winning, you enjoy going to the rink every single day. The coaches made things simple, from our head coach to our assistant coach to my goalie coach. Just having that skill set just made things so simple because we were able to do all the little things so simple.
There must have been like a mentality going into the rink every day where, I mean, you as a goaltender won 38 games that year. Like there must have been like confidence where you guys were walking into any building and being like, yeah, we're going to walk out of here with 2 points, right?
Oh, for sure. We won, I think it was 22 games in a row we won that year.
Wow.
And yeah, we beat the old record, I think, which was only like 11 games, and then it went on to 22. I think that's what it was. I might be wrong. But, like, yeah, we always just had that win mentality. And then when we did lose, it was no big deal because, okay, we lost. Now how do we bounce back from this? I don't think it's good for a team to be undefeated in any way. Like, if you lose, you hate to lose. Obviously, you want to win every game, but you got to learn how to lose. Because what if you went undefeated and then you go into the playoffs and then you lose the first game? Now you're like, holy crap, now what do we do?
Yeah, exactly.
When you're on that winning streak and you're saying, like, you know, talking about dealing with the losses and all that, was it typically just like you're going out and you're typically the better team, or were there like a couple games mixed into that winning streak where, you know, you fall down a goal or two early and you really have to battle back?
I don't really remember because the other hot team that year was the Windsor Spitfires, who beat us in the finals that year, and they won the Mem Cup the year before as well. They had Taylor Hall, Ryan Ellis, Adam Henrique, Dale Mitchell, all these other top end guys as well. And we didn't play them until after that winning streak. And we beat them both games in the regular season. We only played them twice that year. But we beat them. And even like that game, we were down in that game, I think 1 or 2-0. And then we ended up winning 4-2 in their barns. So like we knew that we went into every game knowing that we were the better team for the most part. But we knew how to respond to getting scored on or not scoring at all, like in tight games. So again, it just the skill set we had made things so simple. Every guy knew how to do their job. And
jumping back up to your time in school for a little bit here, how do you feel like the added workload of being a student athlete? Do you feel like that affected your game on the ice at all? Just having the extra workload?
No, that didn't affect my play. It's just because like you don't play hockey the entire school year. You get your breaks and then you have your exams and all that kind of stuff. I was fine playing hockey there, but I was just stressing because I just couldn't keep up with the schoolwork, if we're going to be honest here. Like at one point I was nervous that I wasn't going to keep up my GPA to be able to play. And that's where the stress was coming in for me. And there was times where I'm telling myself, like, I'm not going to be able to play next year. If I keep this up, what am I going to do? And that's why I made the decision to leave and try to go pro. And I ended up getting a tryout in the Central League with the Brampton Beasts, their first year in existence. And then I got cut from there, and they helped me get to Pensacola. I played for the Ice Flyers my first year pro after that. But like, just going back to school, like, the only thing stressful was just getting the work done because, like I said, I'm just not a school guy.
And you said, go back.
Sorry, Acadia's turned into one of the more, dominant programs in CIS.
Oh, definitely.
What's that program like? We see the University of Alberta and Saskatchewan out here out west, but out there it's kind of Acadia's kind of the creme de la creme.
I can only imagine what it's like there now because the stuff that they have now, I didn't have access to. Like, we had a big gym and all that stuff, but now the hockey team has a new locker room. There's a brand new weight room for training and all this kind of stuff. So I can only imagine how much better it is for them now. But even when I was there, the guy who got us started, who was the fitness trainer for every single sports team, his name was Elliot Richardson, aka Rudy. He made things so easy for every team to be ready for games, and just the programs that he put us through, like, they were tough, like anything should be. But like he definitely stepped it up for every single sports program there, from like the hockey team, football team, like all like the top end teams down to the club teams that were there. Like, he just made it's definitely dominant, and they got a great recruiting program out there, not just for hockey, every single sport. So and And it's a university town too. Like I'm pretty sure half the population is made up by the students. You can walk from one building to the other in 5 minutes.
So jumping forward, you said you're mentioning your first season signing pro, playing in the SPHL Southern Professional Hockey League. Looking forward now to where you're one of the all-time greats in that league. You're currently number 2 in wins. You just picked up, was it your 97th career SPHL win? The all-time league record is 103. Do you kind of have your eyes set on that right now?
Definitely, but one game at a time, and I just like my last game, we lost 2-1 at home. And, I feel like I played really well. I only gave up the 2 goals and we just couldn't score. Unfortunately, we only scored 1 goal last weekend. The next game we lost 3-0 to Huntsville. But, I obviously that it's the goal, and like, I want to get that record. I want to get that milestone, as selfish as that might sound, but who wouldn't really want that if you're that close, right?
What was the quality of hockey going from CIS into the SPHL? Obviously, you're playing older guys, you're playing men, not 22-year-olds anymore. But like, what was the skill level like in that league?
Going from CIS to pro, it's one thing you got to remember: the SPHL 8 years ago is not the SPHL now. My first year, there was probably at least a line brawl every other game. And that's not an exaggeration. Like, all 5 guys on the ice were fighting every other game. And, but it's kind of driven away from that, especially when the Central League merged with the ECHL and a bunch of skill guys ended up dropping down to the SPHL. That's when things started to pick up. You don't see too many fighters in the league anymore. Like, there's guys on every team that can fight when they need to, but you don't see those brawls every single game or anything like that. So, but the skill wise, like, you had your fast guys that can go down and shoot. And, but honestly, the first year, I think CIS teams could match up with SPHL teams my first couple of years.
And you mentioned that you're talking about the line brawls. You've been known to drop the mitts occasionally. Do you remember your first goalie fight?
Yeah, and I got the scar to remember it too.
Can you walk us through, just like, because obviously not playing at the pro level, but being a goalie growing up, just like,
there actually is a story behind it.
Walk us through it.
So the team that I was on, Pensacola, the team we were playing, they're no longer in existence. They're the Mississippi Surge. And 3 weeks prior, they were in our rank, and we were beating them like 6-1, something like that. And a line brawl started, and their goalie started to skate down at me, and I gave him the wave, like, no, I'm not fighting. But the only reason is because we didn't have a backup goalie. We had an E-bug. So I couldn't fight and then let our E-bug go. And even though there was only like 6-7 minutes left in the game, because you never know what can happen. Right. So 3 weeks later, we were in Biloxi, Mississippi, where the Surge were, and we were beating them 5-1 again. Same goalie was in net. In between the second and third period, I looked over at my goalie partner. I said, should I go Clarkie? He goes, I'll give him the message to see if he wants to, and we'll see what happens. With like 6-7 minutes left in the period, one of my centermen says he'll fight you if the time is right. Like, if you guys can. 2 minutes later, opportunity came. All the players were off to the side with like a little scrum, nothing too serious, and then we just squared off at center ice.
Did you feel like your heart jump a little bit when you saw the opportunity? Like, oh, this is it, it's happening?
Yeah, definitely did. And then we go in. I got the first blow on him on his bottom lip, and then he got me with a left hard. He switched right away, and he busted my lip open with his first punch. But I dropped to one knee, got back up right away, and I give him the win, definitely. But he actually messaged me the next day on Instagram, I think it was, and he said, hey, like, no hard feelings between us. I don't want to have any heat between us or beef. I just want to say that was my last game. I'm done playing hockey, and I'm happy that you helped me go out with a bang.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So you can say you sent a guy to retirement.
Yeah, but not with my fist.
Did you have any sort of like, because I know like some of the players have some sort of, they know where to grab and where to punch. Like hockey fighting is kind of a skill. Did you have any sort of like idea what the heck you were doing?
The only thing I've done in both my fights, and the only reason I did this is because when I was in junior in Sarnia, my rookie year, my goalie partner we would practice fighting on each other as a joke. And he taught me to do this as a just in case. So, players try to get their elbow pads off at times to shake them off. For a goalie, the best thing you can do is take off your wrist straps off of your chest protector. So if a guy grabs on, you can slide your arm out and then you have a free arm.
So you're going in with all these strategies ready to go.
In a way, yeah, but never got to do it because I never got grabbed on in the right spot to slide it out. It's a just in case type thing.
Yeah.
So in your time in the SPHL, you've played for a number of teams, playing for Mississippi, Fayetteville, Peoria, all over. Which city do you feel like is the most like home to you when you think of the SPHL?
As of right now, I would probably have to say Quad City. Mississippi is right up there too, especially because I was there for 3 years. And, I still keep in contact with my sponsors from the Booster Club. They would help us out with whatever we needed in terms of like, I need some nighttime, daytime meds. I'm a little sick here. Can you help? Well, we want to go out for dinner tonight, grab some food today. Like just any little thing. You need some paper towel and toilet papers. Yeah, we'll bring it over for you. Stuff like that. And, it's definitely a piece of my heart still there. And, Quad City, I got so many ties there now. It always feels like home going back there. And then other than those two places, the other place that does feel like home now, even though I was only there for like 3 months, is Fayetteville because my wife is from there. So I'm back there all the time. And
was she a hockey fan? Did she know you were on the team when you met her?
Yeah, we met after the fact though, but she did see me play one game before we actually met.
Was it a win?
It was a win.
Oh, okay, perfect.
It was one of 5 wins.
With some
Fayetteville only had 11 wins that year, and I had 5 of them.
With some of these these small town teams where the local hockey club is the closest thing they have to the NHL, like were some of these barns just absolutely crazy on game days?
Oh, I'm playing in the craziest one right now in Knoxville. When you're the away team here and it's a sold out crowd, you're in for a treat, especially when the fans are right on top of you. So my second year when I was with Mississippi, we played Knoxville in the finals, and we were supposed to have home ice advantage, but Salhaven, Mississippi decided to book the circus the week of SPHL finals. So we had to play the entire finals in Knoxville, and it's a smaller sheet for one. It's about a third the size of our normal ice surface, and the fans are like the fans are right on top of you, and then they just cramp everybody in there as much as possible before COVID, and the fans are just right in your face. And up until last year, because they redid the ice, like the pipes and everything, so they're able to add more room behind the net. There was almost no room behind the net, between the net and the boards. So if the fans are banging on the glass, it felt like they were right behind you. Like legit, like it felt like they were 2 inches away from the back of your head.
And coming from hockey hotbeds such as Toronto and playing in barns such as Barrie, Sarnia, and then on the road in London, Kitchener, Windsor, places like that, is these Southern rinks like some of the craziest places you've played, or does it hold a torch to some of these OHL rinks?
Definitely met a lot crazier fans down here. More particularly in Louisiana when they used to have a team. Like some of the things that fans there said to me are unforgivable. Like I don't even I don't even know if I should say I'm on this because I don't want to get in trouble for saying it.
Wow.
But I'll leave at this. Those Louisiana fans, I'll never forgive them for what they said to me. Like it is some of the most godless stuff I've ever heard in my life.
What is it about the fans in some of these places? Is it mainly because like sometimes these teams are kind of, that is what you do on a Friday night in the middle of December?
They're into the some of them are just into the craziness, like
Right.
especially there. Like I'm just gonna go back to the Lion Brawls. We had 2 back-to-back games against them, and they had fans like coming up behind our bench, because you could walk behind the bench at this rink because it's actually a basketball stadium. Like the team only used the rink for games. They had to practice at a practice rink every single day, aside from game days. So the fans could walk behind our bench, and if stuff that wasn't going their way, they would come behind our bench and start banging on like crazy, and security would just let them do it. Like a line brawl happened because of something one of their players started, and then the next day our fighter squared up with him right off the draw and gave him 2 uppercuts in the jaw and made him fall back like a pile of bricks. And then right after that, their fans are banging on the back of our glass, like cussing us out, telling us that we're pieces of shit for doing that. And it was absolutely insane. That is one place I do not miss.
So I want to jump in here. You went from playing in the SPHL. Twice in your career, you went way away, and you went to go play in the Australian Ice Hockey League. What led to you going 3 times? Oh, yeah, it was 3. My bad. Misread the elite prospects there. 3 times going to go play in Australia. What led to that even being an option?
Okay, so funny story for the first time. So prior to the first time I went, the year before I was asked to go by the team Perth, where the goalie who I first fought played. He recommended me to the team. And that first time that they asked me, I said no, because I had just won the championship in Pensacola. I had no idea there was a league in Australia. And I was like, I'm partying it up down in Florida right now. Like, I'm not coming. Come to find out when I got there that Scott Darling was supposed to go. But he opted out because he got his tryout with Chicago.
Wow.
So now the next year comes around when I was with Mississippi. They asked me again, but it was just to come for the first couple of weeks because the original import goalie that they recruited sprained his ankle. So they needed somebody to come in for the first month. So I said, you know what? It's for 3 to 4 weeks. I'll go check it out. I went. What an experience. Like, it was mind blowing at first. Not the hockey part of it, like the stuff surrounding the hockey, like nothing, like at the end of the day, nothing wrong with what I experienced. Like, it's kind of funny, and I'll tell you in a second, but I did it, and I went back home and I said, I got to do this again for a full summer. Like, I have to go just when the time is right. So the next summer I didn't go, but the following year is when I reached back out to Perth again. And they said, yeah, we want you to come back. So then I ended up going the next 2 summers. But like, I'm just going to go back to what caught me off guard. So when I first got there, I flew into Sydney, Australia. We had 2 road games. So the first place that we went to, we get to the rink, no glass. It's just boards and mesh. Not all the rinks were like that, but the rinks in Sydney are all like that. There's no glass. It's just boards and mesh. Now, these nets that they had, the posts look like little rinky-dink road hockey nets because the pegs were like this thin. They were solid, but they were that thin. And so we play the game, we win, and then I'm like, okay, where do we shower? Like, do you have towels for us? No, you have to bring your own towel. I'm just like, I didn't know. I'm used, like, we had to supply all of our own stuff. And like, at the end of the day, I get it. It's because these teams, they don't make much money. A lot of the owners just put their own money into it because they love having a hockey team around and to love watching them play. right? So then okay, where are the showers? So like they're down there. They're on like the opposite side of the rink. And then when I get there, it turns out we're showering with the other team with only one shower.
Oh
That's
man.
insane.
Yeah, luckily when I came back, the Sydney team switched to another rink. That
So you didn't
also
have
had
to shower with the other team.
we had the shower. We used the same shower as the other team, like while everybody was there.
Oh my God.
But the thing in Australia though is like there might be some tension between some players, but every team off the ice gets along with every single team. It's like one big hockey team with 80 players on it.
That's cool.
It's
Everyone kind
absolutely
of gets
cool.
together and has supper, and if you guys are in the same city and that type of stuff.
Yeah, we could. Like if the whole team wanted to have a pregame meal together with the other team, they would do it.
I love it.
Like even with the fans, get along with fans on every single team. Even when they're yelling at you, they'll come up to you and they'll like give you stuff like, "Oh, I got this for you. Like I think you're a great player. That's why I make fun of you all the time on the ice."
That's awesome.
What do you think was the craziest story from your time in Australia?
Craziest like hockey story.
Yeah.
Hockey. So the capital team, Canberra, that's the capital of Australia. Their rink is smaller. So our rink in Knoxville is like 3/4 the size. The rink in Canberra is even smaller. There's almost no neutral zone. And not only is there no glass with mesh, there's also chicken wire. And their fans can get ruthless too, because the rink can only fit 1,000 people, but they get 1,000 people every single night.
Mm.
And the only way I knew I was going to be able to get through this is to break one of my traditions and just talk to the fans in between whistles, because you hear everything that they say. So I'd be chatting with them, making conversation. If I got scored on, I'd be like, maybe I'll get the next one. I'd say stuff like that. And they'd ask me, what are you drinking in there? And jokingly, I'd be like, take a guess. It's either vodka or whiskey, just to joke around. Just water. But again, my only defense was to joke around with these people in between whistles because they got them off my back.
Oh.
That's definitely one way to deal with some aggressive away fans when you're on the road.
But like, again, off the ice and everything, great people. They come up to me, we chat, shoot the shit, and everybody. I haven't met one bad person in the hockey world over there.
What's the hockey on the ice like? Is it like, how does it compare to, the SPHL and just like kind of in general?
The only thing that I got to figure out over there is the ref situation. Here's another crazy on ice thing that happened with a ref. We're in Sydney. The net came off by about 3 feet. Like, if this is the post, the net's all the way over here. Guy on the team throws it on net. It goes in. The ref counts it a goal. He said, I can't blow the whistle just because the net came off.
What?
Was there ever any like, well, I've played hockey in Canada, I might know the rules here, and that's incorrect?
Oh, it's absolutely insane. Like some of the calls, like I remember one game too where a guy on my team gets buried from behind right in front of me, no call. So the guy who buries him, I chopped him in the back of the legs, and then I get the penalty. I asked the ref, why didn't you call him for burying my guy from behind? He goes, it was a clean hit. I'm like, he cross-checked them from behind right in front of you, and that's a clean hit.
Is it like not volunteer, but like obviously these refs don't, ref hockey full time, right? So like, is it like kind of just like a part-time job for them?
I don't even know. I know some of them volunteer and all, and unfortunately in Perth, we always get like the same refs because we're all the way on the West Coast. All the other teams are on the East Coast. They're not going to fly refs in and all that. But like, I've met the league commissioners and all that, and I said, honestly, you guys got to start doing what teams do with players and bring in import refs to teach these refs how to do it properly.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's one issue with it too, without having because I imagine it's not a big like system. Like you're not having like, you know, the minor league refs who are working their way up through like the bantams in the minor leagues and working up because they have no like real high leagues to go because they're not going to really be a realistic thing for all these refs to fly over and start reffing in North America, right? So it must be hard to get like the consistent development there.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. There's absolutely no consistency. Like another one weekend, I think we were in Melbourne. We played both Melbourne teams that weekend. We didn't get one power play the whole weekend against two different teams.
Oh,
but we had to kill off, I think it was 13 total.
Oh,
wow. Oh, man.
And like, we went and like, we could count, like we had video, we can count all the penalties that they had on us. Like our side for maybe one or two, but like, how does the same ref not call one penalty on us the entire weekend against the other team? Like they give us a power play. That's how you know, like they don't know what they're really doing out there.
So jumping back to North America here.
I've got another. I want to have another Australian
go for it.
Kind of question. Off the ice, what was kind of like, you know, the culture shock away from hockey? Because you'd have to live there for, you know, obviously a few months. What was kind of the culture shock off the ice, if there was one?
How expensive everything is.
Really?
And driving on the other side of the road threw me off at first too, because I didn't know that. Very ignorant of me. But it's honestly not as hard as you would think. It's actually pretty simple. Once you get on the right side of the car to drive, 5 minutes in, you're golden.
That's not so bad.
But everything is expensive. Like minimum wage there is $18 an hour.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
First time I got there, I went to a pub across the street from the rink. From the hotel to grab food. And the cheapest thing on there was a club sandwich with French fries, and it was $33.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh.
Insane.
That's nuts.
And just one more question. You mentioned that perfs on the West Coast and everybody else on the East Coast. Would that lead to some pretty hectic travel schedules, or was it managed rather well?
It was managed very well. My first full summer there, it got a little annoying for us because they would have, like, it made sense for us to play, like, say in Sydney for 2 nights in a row. And we would even do Sydney and then Newcastle because it was only 2 hours away. We would take shuttle buses and drive. But what the annoying thing at times was they would have us play the same team 4 games in a row rather than spacing it out. Oh. But like whenever teams came to play us in Perth, they would fly over and they would play us 2 games in a row. But then we wouldn't see. But then the second year I was there, we wouldn't see them again for another like 2 or 3 weeks. And they try to mix it up. So there's 2 Sydney teams. So they try to have us play like the one Sydney team one night over there, and then the next team the following night. Or we go Sydney, Newcastle, or Newcastle, Sydney. Same thing with the Melbourne teams because there's 2 Melbourne teams. And we'd play them, like we switch off with them too when we were over there. The only teams we couldn't do that with are Canberra, Newcastle, and Adelaide.
Like, so the season, I don't know if many of our listeners or maybe any of our listeners will really know, the season is completely opposite of what it is in North America, right? So you could play one season in Australia and come back and play in the SPHL, right? Yeah,
because so our summer is their winter time.
Mm-hmm.
And but the main reason that they do that is because that's how they can get import players to come. Because even their local players, they don't get paid to play. They pay to play.
Oh.
And then they help the imports. Help the imports get jobs on work visas. And the teams help cover the costs of like the living and get them cars so they can travel around, all that kind of stuff.
So did you have a secondary job when you were down there?
Yeah, I did. The team, so Perth, they get you a job with the team sponsor, which is at a scrapyard.
Oh,
and you make $33 an hour.
Hey,
not so bad.
For a club
There's probably worse. Yeah.
Oh, and the guys that own the place are absolute gems too. Like you love working there for them, and like the job can be a little stressful at times because you do the same thing every day and you're up early. You're literally just putting old car batteries on a skid most of the time and wrapping them up. But at the end of the day, you're with good guys when you're there and you're not getting yelled at, and you can work really as much as you want. You don't even have to work if you don't want to.
Wow.
right, so coming back overseas now, in your time in the SPHL, you've had a couple cups of coffee playing up in the East Coast Hockey League. What were the situations like there when you would get call-ups to go get loaned to the East Coast? How often before a game would you like get the notice that like they needed you?
So the first time I got called up was actually like right after one of my games in Mississippi. It was actually one of those 10 o'clock field trip games with all the screaming fields and all that. So I got the call maybe 3 or 4 hours later after that. And then the next day I was on a flight out to Colorado when the Eagles were still in the CHL. And then when they released me, I was put on waivers and I was claimed by Fort Wayne. So Fort Wayne just called and said, yeah, we claimed you. Where are you right now? How can you, how can you get to an airport? We'll fly you in. So long story short, I flew there. And then I wasn't playing. They told me I was going to get some games because of a bunch of 3-3s, but it never happened. So I asked to go down to back to Mississippi, played one weekend, and then literally the day of my first game back, the coach and Alan said, oh, I didn't see you got waived, but we want you to come here. When can you get here? And I said, I have to play Mississippi this weekend because they have no other goalies. So I played, and the very next day after I played, I was on a plane into Texas. And then they traded me when they got their goalie back. They traded me to Adirondack, and Adirondack flew me in. And then when they released me, I was just like, honestly, like when the teams bring you in, depending on how long they need you for, they literally call you and you have to make a decision on the spot. There's no, let me think about it, because they'll just go on to the next guy, especially when you're a call up.
Wow. And was it an automatic, like, yeah, I'll come play most of the time for you? Yeah. Yeah.
The only time I was hesitant was Wichita the following season when I got, not because I didn't want to go, it was just because I didn't really know if I was actually going to play. And I had promised the coach and Alan that I wouldn't take any call-ups anywhere else, because I was like, Alan was like my favorite spot to play in the ECHL. It's awesome there. I love that place. The coach is awesome. And but I went to Wichita, and then as soon as they released me, I'm on my way back to Mississippi. 30 minutes into the drive, coach of Alan calls you, says, where are you right now? I'm like, I'm on my way back to Mississippi. He says, turn around, I need you to come to Alan.
Oh, life of a goaltender, I guess, eh?
Yeah, but you know what? I was loving it. I was happy to go back. Got some playing time while I was there, and did well. Like Alan, I had the most success in ECHL.
So, just looking at your career as a whole right now, what do you think was your like favorite moment of your career up until this point?
I would have to say winning the SPHL championship my first year. That was pretty surreal, especially when you win the championship your first year professional, even though I was a backup that year. Still amazing. And other than that, I went to St. Louis Blues rookie development camp 2 years straight when I was 18 and 19. I got to play at the Traverse City, Michigan rookie tournament with them. Jake Allen was my goalie partner, and I'm a Habs fan, so seeing him there now,
wow,
it's pretty cool.
Well, you see, you've played in all these towns in Canada, the States, and Australia. You've played in just like some crazy towns you probably wouldn't have ever thought of playing in. Just like, how cool is that to be able to be so well traveled, as a person?
I never really thought about that. Like, I know I've been a lot of places, but at the end of the day, I was just happy. Like going up to the ECHL, it was awesome. And then maybe I'll get to stay, develop, then maybe I can get to the A, this and that. Like, it's always the dream to go one step further, and that comes along with that as travel, but you never really think about it, especially when you're trying to develop and everything. And for this year, coming to Knoxville was awesome, just because I'm just fortunate to be able to play hockey this year, because my other team, Quad City's not playing this year. 5 teams opted out of the SPHL, so I'm very fortunate to be in Knoxville right now. So I'm taking everything in, just trying to be the best player I can be here.
Anything else, boys?
I can't think of anything right now. The only thing that comes to mind is you got to play in 2010, going all the way back to your junior. You did get to play in the Super Series. What was that like, getting to play against the Russians for a couple games?
I only played half a game. It was awesome. I actually wasn't supposed to play that game. I was only there to back up originally. But my coach from Barrie that year, Marty Williamson, fought for me because he was the assistant coach of the team in Barrie, and he said, "No, you got to let him play. Like, you can't just have him here and then all of a sudden he's got to ride the bench." Like, so he convinced Hockey Canada to let me play, and he got me the start for that game too. So that was pretty awesome to do.
One other thing that comes to mind here, I know goalies are, a different animal sometimes with rituals and that type of stuff. Heck, Woodsy's a goalie here. So did you have any weird or odd or just finicky things that you had to do before games, like weird rituals or anything like that?
There's one that I used to do, and I technically still do it, but I don't anymore. So the way this for ritual first happened was just by fluke, and I just kept doing it, and I turned it into like a habit, I guess. So now before each period, I spit water into my crease. Like, as soon as the national anthem's done playing for the first period, I pour water in my mouth, and like 5 seconds before the puck drop, I spit it into the crease. And before, up until college, I used to do the Triple H and just spit it like straight out of my mask. But that happened because one day before a game, I grabbed my water, I put it in my mouth, and I spat it out right away because it tasted like dirt. There's something wherever we were, the water tasted like crap, and I ended up getting a shutout that game. So I just kept doing it.
And the tradition's born.
And it seems to work, eh?
The only other thing now that I don't really call it a ritual. It's just something that happens every game. Is I get really nervous before each game that I play, and I end up coughing a lot. It sounds like I'm gonna cough up a lung.
Wow.
That's just my nerves kicking in, and once I get on the ice, I'm fine.
Huh. Interesting. That's strange. Like, do you have any idea, like, the nerves? Do you have any, have you researched into any of that?
I haven't done any research on that. I just let it be what it is, and to me, it just means I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Peter, it has been a blast talking to you. Nothing but laughs. Really fun interview. Is there anything you want to plug? Anywhere people can follow you online on social media?
Sure. I really only have Instagram. I got rid of Twitter a long time ago, and Facebook's a little private for me. So, yeah, sure. Instagram at the Mad Dog 1990. And again, thanks for having me on. This was actually pretty fun to do. And if there's any time in the future you see what I'm up to and you want to call me back up to see where I'm at in my hockey career, whether it's playing still or coaching, feel free to give me another call, and I'd be down to do this again.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
We're definitely going to be following you. We're going to be cheering you on as you're chasing the SPHL wins record. Definitely going to have some more supporters from Western Canada after today.
Appreciate it. Hopefully my family out there sees this.
Where's the family from out here?
Edmonton.
Oh, nice. No, that's where we all are.
That's us.
Yeah, I got a couple of cousins out there.
That's awesome. Small world hockey is.
Well, once again,
I know.
Thank you very much, and best of luck with the rest of your season.
No problem, guys. You guys take care, okay? Stay safe.
Yeah, you
You too.